All right, and in studio with me this afternoon, I have Mary Muthoni, the Deputy Director of the Chamber of Commerce and the Chairperson for Women, National Chamber of Commerce, pardon me, and the Chairwoman of the Women in Business. And actually, just before we came on air, we're having a very interesting conversation on what the focal point has been when it came to taking a look at the impact this electoral instability has had on the business and economic situation in the country and whether the focal point has been lost. So as I welcome you to studio, welcome to studio.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Anytime. I think one of the interesting things is, and I just told you, you've opened my eyes to a perspective of the economic situation in the country that hasn't come to light. And we've seen with the story that just played that there's been more than significant impact on small-scale businesses, mostly operated by women. Now, the entire time, up until today, I can effectively say the conversation has been foreign investment. When we're taking a look at what's at the impact, what has happened in the country politically is having on the economics of the country, it's foreign investment. This much money in dollars has been pulled out. But maybe you can just highlight the impact it's having on women who are conducting businesses in the country.
I like speaking with numbers. And let's first say that we have 15 million SMEs in the country today. 15 million of the businesses is about 85% of all the businesses that we have in the country. Probably 70% or thereabout could be women and the youth. Those are the ones that operate at that level. So if you look at that and look at the challenges that Kenya is facing right now, low money circulation, weaker purchasing power, unemployability, really, it is the woman who is getting affected by all this. If there is no circulation of the money in the country, what are you talking about? That the mama mboga, before even a coin gets to her, it's difficult. You see, if there's weaker purchasing power, I mean, at the end of the day, you'll find the woman who is selling mutumba is going to sell her wares at a throwaway price at the end of the day because of the fear of the heightened anxiety in the country. You buy at 60,000 and you sell it off at 40,000 because you're afraid come October, you know, what is going to happen to my cargo? So I have to do away with it as quickly as possible to ensure that this crisis does not get to me. So really speaking, this is affecting the woman more than any other person. And the more we press on this, we are calling that we can have these elections even today, even tomorrow. We just get done with it and move on with life. Kenya has to go back to normalcy.
I know, and it's actually a conversation I had with, I think sometime last week, with someone from Saiton, and they said that the recovery period, even as we walk up to October 17th, with whatever hiccups that we're having, the recovery period is going to be 4 to 6 months. As we know that effectively, more major business operations in this country are SMEs. SMEs constitute the larger part of the working economy. And with the decision that was made, with all its depth, do you feel like maybe the economical aspect, especially local economic aspect or considerations, were not fully expedited? Did they not think hard enough of what the impact would be for local business people?
Sometimes it's a catch-22 because for any country's stability, it has to be two-way. The political class has to have a goodwill on what the people want. And also the people have to take it up. You see, like the Chamber of Commerce, we are saying the businesses are hurting. You see, so there are policies that we have to still continue to work for the business community to roll out their programs. So really, it may have been considered, but at the verge of the moment, you may not feel it at this particular time. Or somehow, somewhere, somebody is taking it lightly or making statements recklessly that are also affecting the community at large.
All right, and I like that you said you like to talk about numbers. Are there any numbers right now that can probably indicate how women in business are suffering with the political situation in the country right now?
To say the least, we cannot even tell how much or to what extent, because the numbers are increasing every other day. You cannot pinpoint that this is the percentage that is affected. Every other day, it is going down, you see? And if you see people crying in Bungoma, it's all over. I was in Mount Kenya the other day, it's the same. In Nairobi, it's the same. So every other day, unless if we have research on a daily basis, which is practically not very possible. So at the end of the day, or at the end of this period, that is the only time we can come and count the losses. Yes.
Now, I think effectively the conclusion is that the detriment to the business sector is significant, and mostly it's based on the fact that there's mass uncertainty. We know what the foreign investors are saying. We saw yesterday President Uhuru Kenyatta had a sit down with KEPSA and said that everything is okay in Kenya, to which that really isn't much of a guarantee right now. And as we see the back and forth, I mean, today the electoral body is trying to sit with both sides of the political divide and arrive at some contention. The country is still not sure whether October 17th is going to come to pass or not. And if we can see the impact that it's having specifically on women in business, as opposed to just waiting and see, I think, are there any recommendations coming from the National Chamber of Commerce on how we can mitigate the economic detriment that this political period is having on us?
We have 3 pillars of development. One is having sound institutional reforms.
Yes.
Of course, we have independent institutions in Kenya. You see, we have the IEBC, we have the judges, we have the executive and all. We have the political stability. That has to come from the political utterances or any other activity that is happening within the political divide. You see, this shove or push and pull must stop, and it can only stop at the political level. Then we also have the goodwill from the leaders. The leaders, it could come from the business community. For instance, as Chamber of Commerce, we've gone all out to ensure we have forums to give at least some hope to the business community. And it also comes from the political class that they must come out and tell the people that it is going to be well. But if these 3 things are not accomplished, that is when we take the country to the dogs. And for sure, these are the pillars that we need to really categorize on. If it is the institutions,
Yes.
respect the institutions, you see, and we move on, you see. So we do not have to create other sideshows away from what has already been said. And that is why we are also saying, if IEBC has decided this is the date to have the elections, why don't we just go ahead and have the elections as soon as possible, so that the political heightened anxiety can just go down?
No, it's true.
You know, so it's those 3 things we need to really think about.
And I think effectively